We answer. Tonight we're tackling questions about how you can open up your home to help Portland's asylum seekers.
Plus, mystery illnesses and deaths in the Dominican Republic. We speak with one Mainer who just returned.
Some people like their bananas on the green side. Others like them overripe with brown spots. I kind of like mine in between. The question tonight is one banana healthier than the other banana? We'll verify. This is News Center Now.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Lee Nelson.
And I'm Lindsay Mills. Thanks for being with us tonight. We've been talking about this for some time now, how the city of Portland is handling the influx of asylum seekers who are arriving here.
And as long as we've been talking about it, people have been asking questions, prompting more talk about it. And there are a lot of questions to be answered. And so once again tonight, Samantha York takes a few and answers them.
We've received a number of questions and concerns from you at home about the hundreds of asylum seekers who've entered Portland in the last week. They've ranged from costs to clarity on their immigration status to how you can help. The latest question comes from Sarah, who says, "We have extra room in our home and are interested in helping house immigrants. Is this something we can look into?" Here's what we found out. City officials released a statement Wednesday night that explains their next steps in the housing search. It says city officials are working with the Greater Portland Council of Governments Metro Regional Coalition to create a long-term housing plan for the asylum seekers. At an emergency meeting Wednesday morning, city officials say members of neighboring cities and towns agreed to work with local developers and private property owners to find vacant apartments or suitable empty facilities that could house 100 families. GPCOG will coordinate the creation of a program that will allow families to host asylum seekers in their homes. So yes, if you're looking to provide a temporary place for asylum seekers to stay, contact GPCOG. We've put their contact information on our website. And of course, if you at home have a question you want answered, just shoot us an email or use the hashtag AskNow. In Portland, I'm Samantha York, News Center, Maine.
All right, so there you go. One more question down.
Yes.
More to come, right?
Well, exactly. We answer one, we get five more.
Right.
Yeah.
Now this, Maine lawmakers pulled an all-nighter as they tried to get some final high-stakes bills passed before the end of the legislative session. Several of the session's biggest bills that are now waiting to be signed into law are allowing pot sales, approved by voters of course, prohibiting driving while holding a cell phone, legalizing sports betting, establishing presidential primaries.
Meanwhile, Governor Janet Mills working into the night, signing several bills, including an alternative to a controversial red flag bill. This law allows police to have a person surrender their weapons if a medical professional agrees they pose a threat to themselves or others. Another new law is to make bias-based and racial profiling by police illegal, and a bill was signed to advance children's cancer research. Now, these bills and laws have had a lot of you talking on social media, and coming up tonight at 5:30 and 6, we will learn more about something in this legislative session that did not get resolved.
Okay, fair enough. The rain did not get resolved, and I think it's going to take a few more hours. Here's Keith to fill us in on that.
Well, I was reading those comments real quick, and I was trying to figure one out. It said, once you get a headset, you'll never go back. I'm like, what? What are we talking about? It's the driving thing, right?
Yes,
Yeah, hands-free.
yes.
Okay. I was like, how does this factor into any of the things we're talking about
It
right
is
now?
true. I've had that for a while in my car, the hands-free, and
Hands-free.
it's really nice.
Do you find you actually call people more?
I don't call people at all, but I do answer phone calls,
More
because
calls.
it's just
it's
one.
easier.
You push one button and you talk.
Does the Geländewagen have that?
Yeah,
the new
Keith,
car that you have?
who do you think I am? But it is an excuse to make more phone calls. I think use the travel time.
If you don't know what a Geländewagen is, look it up online. It's the car that Lindsay has right now.
No.
All right, here's some heavy downpours out there. This stuff is really congealing and coming down. And guys, getting quite a few reports of thunderstorms out there as well. And we talked yesterday about whether or not we'd have the juice in the atmosphere to produce thunder and lightning, and we do have it, even though it's not being picked up too well on the radar right now. Good news is the back edge is starting to move through southern coastal Maine, and we'll get at least a reprieve a little bit in the rain there. But the big picture is this is a good rain shield. In fact, typically as you get to this time of the year, right towards summer, it's harder to get these deeper lows with more moisture, but this one is anomalously deep and strong, and that's why we're picking up about 1.5 inches to 2 in most spots of rain. The temperatures in the 50s, of course. When it's like this, it's going to be really hard to pick those temperatures up. So the rain continues to advance to the north and east. Just a warning, even when it starts to lighten up on you, it's not done because there's still thunderstorms back to the west and southwest. Overnight tonight, those thunderstorms will continue. Rainy, cloudy, at least through the first half of Friday. But guys, by tomorrow afternoon, we will clear out, and that will set the stage for the weekend.
Good.
Timing is
Thumbs
good.
up all around.
Yes, indeed.
Just in time for the weekend. Keith, thanks. Checking out our headlines today. The U.S. military confirming Iranian forces shot down a U.S. drone in what it called an unprovoked attack. The U.S. Central Command says Iranian forces shot down the drone, an RQ-4 Global Hawk in international airspace. The unmanned aircraft is used for surveillance. We will have much more on this story coming up on News Center Maine at 5:30.
The attorney for the young man who accuses actor Kevin Spacey of groping him says his client's cell phone can't be located, and that's a problem because the court ordered it to be turned over to the defense. Spacey's lawyers have demanded the cell phone so they can recover texts that they say support Spacey's claims of innocence. The attorney for the alleged victim says they are using an expert to search for backups for the phone, but they don't have a ton of time. The judge is now giving them until July 8th to find that phone.
A suspect in the shooting of David Ortiz has been charged with drug and firearm possession in New Jersey. The U.S. Attorney's Office in Newark announced the indictment for Rolfi Rafira Cruz. Meanwhile, Dominican authorities arresting an 11th person in connection with the shooting, and authorities are now saying it was a case of mistaken identity and a friend with Ortiz that night that he was the intended target. Well, have you ever gone to the emergency room and then ended up with a surprise bill you weren't anticipating? If so, you're not alone.
Yeah, hardly. According to a new study from the Kaiser Family Foundation, 1 in 6 hospital trips results in this unexpected bill. Researchers say millions of Americans are hit with these bills that can amount to thousands of dollars despite having insurance through work. The surprise charges can include going to a hospital that's considered out of your network, or maybe the hospital is in your network, but the doctor who treated you wasn't. And this may be coming to an end, though. Next week, a Senate panel is expected to vote on legislation that would limit what patients can be charged in terms of deductibles and copays. Teenager in Nevada had to go to the emergency room after a kind of a strange accident.
Apparently, an e-cigarette exploded in his mouth. The incident happened in March of last year, but was just profiled in the New England Journal of Medicine. The explosion shattered the 17-year-old's jaw, knocked out several of his teeth, and tore a hole through his gums. The doctors had to perform a number of procedures, including having his jaw wired shut for several weeks. He has since fully recovered from that injury, but it is a cautionary tale, and there are other instances of e-cigarettes apparently exploding. So far, VGod, the manufacturer of the vape pen, has not commented on this incident.
All right, coming up, our Verify team answers a question about ripe bananas. Are they healthier than ones that are a little bit green?
Very interesting. And the FBI is working on toxicology tests to get some answers about Americans who have died or fallen ill in the Dominican Republic. The story of one Mainer who recently returned home sick. Da, da, da.
Yeah, they don't last with you, huh?
Weird, like charge
We'll
in
go
my
to
body.
the newsroom next.
In the morning show, did you have to have your batteries changed often? No?
No.
Hi, everybody.
No, I did not. Alrighty.
I'm gonna go over here again.
Da, da, da. So we are going to the newsroom.
I am taking this case right off because it doesn't do anything. All right. Where are we headed?
Yes, free car wash today, courtesy of the rain.
Yeah, we'll go like try to block the empty chair. So it's a little empty.
Sorry, Jeff. My bad.
So here's a question. Downstairs, Mike said no more prom shot. What do we think about the prom shots up here? Are we trying to split things up here too, or what?
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, we are. Right? You said we're moving camera down around.
Just over there.
Okay,
That's
but
just by the
not
monitor.
but not here.
Not here. That's just by the monitor.
Oh, I think
Okay.
he doesn't. I think it's because when we're next to a monitor, we're so close to each other.
I've
don't
always
know.
hated that shot too, so I'm glad.
Yeah.
But yeah, here you're just kind of like standing next to each other.
Got it.
Oh, I looked right at the light. That was a bad
I'm
idea.
sorry.
It's not you. It's my own fault.
Actually, can I move you guys a little bit, like
Yeah.
up, like on these squares?
Oh, sorry.
Oh, you're totally fine.
Oh, I
Also,
got you.
love that dress, by the way.
Thank you.
Love it. Yeah, let's get a little closer. There you go.
That's better.
Oops.
I'm still not used to this new setup. Are you? Like of the newsroom?
Well, maybe not completely, but I like it. I'm into it.
Yeah. It's comfy.
I'll step in again.
I love the chairs. They're super good chairs.
Yeah. I finally put the armrest all the way down so that I could slide all the way in and sit back for for good posture. Makes a difference.
25 away. I'll step in.
So I'm gonna go ahead and take a guess. I haven't seen the story. I haven't read the script, but I'm gonna think the brown bananas are worse for you because isn't the brown sugar?
I think it does. I think that is true.
Yeah.
However, there are some other benefits. I think so. It's kind of. I think they each have their own.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Well, we certainly know it's important to get plenty of fruits and vegetables.
Yeah, the fruit in particular we're talking about tonight, the banana. I've eaten one like every day for years. Anyway, the question is, and this is because of a lot of talk online, is a ripe banana healthier or less healthy than maybe one that's a little bit green? So the Verify team is going to check it out.
A post debating perfect ripeness turned into a viral banana debate. Some of you claim a riper banana is healthier than its greener counterparts. Let's verify, starting with that switch from green to yellow.
Bananas will react with ethylene gas, and this will stimulate the ripening process. Enzymes will then work to break down the acid content of the banana, will change that green exterior to yellow, and will start to change the composition of the fiber and the carbohydrate within the banana.
According to Dr. Emma Lang, clinical associate professor at UGA's Department of Foods and Nutrition, it's not just color that's changing.
As a banana ripens, there are changes in the composition of the starch. So an unripe banana is going to have a starch that is difficult for us to digest.
But she says that resistant starch has benefits.
It can help with a feeling of fullness and other types of digestive health.
A ripe banana, on the other hand, still has the same calories and fiber, but more simple carbohydrates as the starch changes. That's why it's sweeter. Dr. Lang says those brown spots are one sign of more antioxidants. Though whether increased antioxidants translate to the part you eat is hard to track. Other nutritional elements remain consistent.
The level of potassium and other vitamins and minerals will stay the same throughout the ripening process.
So yes, we can verify some nutrients change as a banana ripens, but take your pick. Dr. Lane says whether a ripe or unripe banana is healthier depends on your health. Both have benefits and important vitamins and minerals.
We can all agree, though, the best ones for banana bread are the ones that were all the way to the right of that.
Right. And actually, usually I eat mine in a protein shake, so I don't mind if it's a little bit brown either, because it just gets all,
It's all blended.
gummed up there. And then
True.
It's awesome. Love bananas.
So good. Well, up next, a traveler from Maine just returned from the Dominican Republic. She's talking with us about the mystery illnesses happening over there.
Yeah. Also, teeth is a mystery, right? Look at this weekend forecast coming up.
My promise to you.
Jeff, you're really getting a workload in there, huh? Having to move the cameras
So
around.
are we headed over there now?
Yeah.
Either side of the monitor.
All right.
So I was just showing Jess that
Yeah.
Luca likes brushing my teeth because it vibrates. And so he puts it in there. Look at his friggin' face. He's like, but then he has the little kid dexterity, so he'll be like,
Oh, right.
Whoa, dude.
God, he's so cute. I seriously can't handle him. You're gonna have your hands full with him.
Yeah.
Actually, I can leave that there. He's so sweet.
He's they're trying to get him to nap in the.
To my left. Here's a. Is there any chance that we could back that up a little? Because we've been talking about how it looks like we're not looking at the camera
Yeah.
because they're so close.
And he's not transitioning?
He's having a hard time because it's weird. So the baby room, or what the room he's in now, they all sleep at different times, but the lights are on and it's loud.
That's like caused a big old problem.
Right.
Well, they're trying to transition him to the toddler room.
That won't be the first time, won't be the last.
2.5 hours sleeping
Thank
in the
you.
dark. They all nap at the same time. But he's not quite.
Am I okay where I am, Bill?
Ready for it? 'Cause
Yeah.
I guess he's waking up about an hour and then being like, "Where am I?" Like,
Buddy.
but they want him to do that because it.
Yeah. Cool.
How about if we slightly lean toward each other a little bit?
Lean with it, rock with it. No
Right.
problem.
Right.
Womp womp.
Right. What about high school reunion? Can we do a high school reunion type shot?
Yeah.
I like this anyway. Like zoom right in.
Yeah. Those always throw me for a loop when the little anime. Yeah.
I know,
when
because
the
they're
animations
usually
are
a
right
trigger
before.
for us to come out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hello to our Florida viewers who are watching. Wondering how hot it is down there. Or humid.
Right. It's pouring rain here.
Mm-hmm.
It is a mystery in paradise. The Dominican Republic's been in the headlines not just for the shooting of Red Sox star David Ortiz, but because 9 American tourists have died there this year.
Dozens more have gotten sick as well. I spoke with one Mainer who just returned from a recent trip, and she was miserably ill. Now she has some answers, at least for her case.
It was beautiful weather. I mean, it's everything that you pictured it would be.
Ashley Hare traveled to the Dominican Republic last month with some friends. She's been there before, but this time was different.
Lots of heartburn and nausea. And at one point I had to leave the group of friends and I had to go lay down in the room for several hours.
By the time she got home to Brewer, she couldn't keep any food down for days and ended up at the emergency room.
It was eventually confirmed that I did have salmonella poison.
Then something else raised a red flag for Hare. Headlines showing dozens of illnesses and 9 deaths of American tourists in the Dominican Republic.
It was scary. At one point I was wondering, are they going to connect it?
The State Department confirms to NBC News there is nothing unusual about the number of American deaths in the Dominican Republic. It has, however, issued a Level 2 travel advisory for crime. The FBI, meanwhile, is using toxicology tests to see if any of the deaths are connected. The results could take up to a month.
As awful it was to know that I had salmonella, it was like almost relieving because I'm like, thank God, I know why I'm sick.
A mystery solved, at least in Ashley Hare's case, as a search for answers continues in a place where she's had more positive experiences than not so memorable.
I wouldn't ban them off my travel list. I've already been there 3 times. Maybe it's time to explore another island.
Now, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention is also warning people about traveling to the Dominican Republic about an increase in reported dog and cat bites, and apparently those 2 animals can be rabid over there. So they're just kind of warning people about that.
Huh.
So
There are enough other places to go that
Right.
we
A lot
can
of
just
other
kind of
places.
scratch that off the list for a little while.
The only thing is, though, if you actually ever look at like the travel warnings from the government, they're like for every place you would
Everywhere.
truly
enough.
go.
There's always something.
I almost
yeah.
feel like there should be fewer of them. Like, let me know if I really shouldn't go somewhere.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Because there's everywhere from Mexico to even a lot of places in Europe. You'll get different travel
Yep.
warnings.
absolutely.
We're kind of like oddly arrogant in that way. Like, watch out! You go to Germany, but something bad might happen. I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
Just be cautious of your surroundings
Right.
at all times,
Right.
even at home.
All places. There are a few places that you legitimately probably have to worry
Yeah.
about that. All right. I remember I asked in Argentina, I was like, "Is the water good to drink here?" And they're like, "We're a first world country. What kind of question is that?" You know, it's like that kind of thing.
You offended them.
No, you just don't know. That's not a question you want to ask after. Let's put it that way.
True enough.
All right. Here's a look at the radar out there. It's really heavy stuff, and the models did a pretty good job with this because, as we talked about, there's some thunderstorm activity in there. It's really embedded lightning. It's not showing up too well on our detection network, but I'm getting a bunch of tweets that there is thunder and lightning out there, so certainly I believe that, especially these cells coming into western Maine. The rain is moving quickly, though. You may notice the speed of it. So the back edge is approaching southern coastal Maine. That being said, even when it comes through the back edge, there'll still be a couple of showers and storms through the rest of tonight. So it's wet. It's just varying degrees of wet depending on your location. Continues by midnight tonight. It's a little bit lighter. Tomorrow we start out cloudy, showery, foggy probably, and it's unlikely that we clear out until 3, 4, depending on your location. That back end though, 4, 5, 6, 7, because the sun's setting obviously latest it's going to tomorrow. That could be actually a pretty nice late afternoon, early evening, and that launches us into the weekend. And the weekend looks good. We've talked about how Sunday's the better of the 2 weekend days. Saturday's good, but it's breezy. And Jess and I were just talking about this. There's been this little tiny patch of moisture on the models for Saturday for the last couple of days. It's an isolated sprinkle. We really didn't even want to mention it because it's going to be so isolated, but I think we have to so nobody gets upset if they get that isolated sprinkle. But most of us are dry, and then Sunday's just gorgeous. Temperatures right around 80 degrees, mostly sunny, and the winds will be flat. After that, we're watching a nice day on Monday, and then Tuesday and Wednesday we got hung up on a front, and we struggle with where that front is going to be. I think it's going to be showery for Tuesday, Wednesday. And then guys, check this out on Thursday. GFS has upper 80s, some low 90s, yay. Euro model 59. What? So we shall see who wins that battle. What a contrast, but you know how I feel about the Euro, so yes. It might not be going the way we want it to go. We put mild, question mark, the advantages of the 7th day of the 7-day forecast. But again, the weekend looks good, and again, there's no real change to Saturday's forecast, even though we put that little sprinkle in. It's always been about a 10% chance of a sprinkle. It's just that now, as we get closer, I feel we have to mention it, because if you're that 10%, you're going to be
Keith didn't say anything.
Annoyed. Yeah, but I think it's going to be a nice day. So.
All right, good. All right, Keith, thanks a lot. All right, check this out. We had a cute little dog in here today, Jojo.
Jojo the Pomchi, Pomeranian and Chihuahua.
Right, Pomchi, right. And now we have to talk about Tostito, who we've actually talked about quite a bit before. He is on a quest to become the world's ugliest dog, and we're going to find out very soon if he may win that title. He is starting the journey to California from Maine tonight, getting ready for the big competition tomorrow. His fans can find out how to vote by going to his Facebook page. Good luck, Tostito.
Real quick, too, I believe today is #ugliest dog day.
Oh, nice.
I saw that trending on Twitter. All right, checking out the Snap Maps today. You had one job to do. We've seen these posts on Snap Maps before. So people are filing these instances away in that you had one job. And I think in this case, they're maybe upset about the distribution of the sprinkles, maybe? I guess so. Not really sure about that one. And then this one, is this supposed to say eggs and bacon? Oh, and the G's are upside down.
There you go.
Maybe it's abstract. Maybe it's intentional.
It is artistic.
Coco's laughing at me.
It is artistic is what it is. Let's just move on
okay,
from that, shall we?
From that one.
That story never happened. This one is happening, though. This is pretty interesting. The Tampa Bay Rays have received permission from Major League Baseball to explore becoming a 2-city team. The plan is to play early season home games in Tampa Bay and then finish the season in Montreal. It got us thinking, too, if you could work regularly in another city around the world, where would it be?
That's really interesting. That's going to be a hard thing for their families to split that up between the two.
You know what, though? I think a lot of their families just live in their original home anyway, because they're always on the road when they're playing that game. So.
Right.
So what would your alternative one be?
I'd like to stick driving distance, preferably. So maybe anywhere else in New England, you know?
Okay.
How about you? Canada. We could drive
Yikes.
to
Let's
Canada.
bring Cindy in too. That way I'll get an extra three
You don't
seconds to
you don't
come
want
up
to get
with
in
one.
trouble with this one. Yeah.
No. No. What would yours be?
What's the? I
A
was.
second city that you would work in.
Yeah, you could split your
That
time
you could split
there.
your time. I'm gonna go
Yeah.
with Manhattan.
That'd be cool.
That would be really fun.
Yeah.
I was thinking Chicago, but I've
Okay.
never really spent any time there. So
That is a fun city. Actually,
Yeah.
that would be a win-win
San
for my
Francisco,
situation.
maybe. Kind of like that.
Very cool.
Did you like my hand reaching into the shot and pulling
To
your
grab your
yes,
to grab
laptop
your
over?
laptop over.
I thought that's
television.
what you're going to give me a hard time about.
No. So what's coming up?
We got a lot more news ahead. So a judge has made a ruling in that lawsuit against former Governor LePage. He was accused of abusing his power by trying to thwart a job offer for a political opponent. We're going to have that ruling for you. LGBTQ youth are at higher risk of homelessness, substance abuse, depression, and suicide. We're going to tell you what one Maine hospital is doing to try to help. And talk about a group effort. A lot of people involved in getting these little ducklings from the door of the restaurant where they were hatched to a nearby pond. We'll check out this group effort all ahead at 5:30.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's a story a lot of people are clicking on online
Yep.
for sure.
For sure.
All right, we're back with Brain Drops after this.
No?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, you're
That
good.
script say, and you didn't say it, completed suicide? It said completed suicide. What would,
That would be, well, that's actually what the script did say.
Yeah.
Basically successful suicide.
well, right,
But
but if it's not, if they don't die, then it's not suicide, so that would be a unnecessary
Attempted
word.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. That would be a.
An uncompleted suicide is life.
Wait, can you bring it
It's not a suicide.
It's an attempted suicide, though.
Yes, attempted suicide.
So I think we have some new fans watching tonight. Hey guys. And Fred, thank you for explaining. But yes, this is the behind the scenes. So we do know we're still rolling. And
God, if we didn't
just,
know,
yeah.
it'd be way worse than this.
Yeah, there have been times we've forgotten. But we've been okay because we're professionals, right, Keith?
Yes, always. Always professional.
I'm excited you're doing this.
The board is in red. Yeah. Liam has an abort button on my
Does he?
audio board. It's like that show Around the Horn with.
Is this in regards to the lobster rope?
Yes.
Yes,
So
okay.
we're going to try to get through all of this, and it might not happen, but the concept is, okay, Golden is saying his main issue with the idea of changing the rules for what they're doing with the ropes is that the tool that Noah is using hasn't been peer reviewed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. 1 minute. Yep, and just leave me with the graphics probably. Yeah, I would. Because we gotta go. Yep. So anyways, he's saying it's not peer reviewed, which is true because it takes 2 to 3 years for that to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of a matter of sometimes the best science, you have to go with the best science you have at that time to make policy decisions.
Mm-hmm.
It's not all as straightforward as 60 years of climate change research or,
Sure.
you know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
So it's kind of an interesting little gray area about the point is taken, but what's alternative?
Yeah.
Which other moves?
That is interesting. Well, I gotta go check out Bernie and Phil's. Quality.
All right. Today's Brain Drops is actually based off an interesting headline I saw in the Portland Press Herald that Golden is trying to push back this idea of additional lobster trap regulations. And here's where this comes from, and it gets into science here very quickly. So this comes from right whale population. So they're trying to put in place more regulations to stop entanglements for right whales because the population has been declining and they're endangered, of course. They actually bottomed out in 1990 at 268 of them worldwide. Okay, so within that, these are the entanglement deaths, and as you can see, they've been pretty strong the last couple of years. So where does the science part come into this? Golden is saying that the tool that's used to predict entanglements is not peer-reviewed, and we talk about peer-reviewed a lot here. And he's right. NOAA has not run this through a third-party peer review process.
part of the reason for that is it's new, it's experimental. It's going to take 2 to 3 years for that to happen. This is the data it spits out. It shows you right whale locations, and then the next graphic that we're going to show you is where all the traps are. So fishermen are saying most of our traps are densely right along the coastline. The right whale population, for the most part, is farther offshore. In addition to this, they cannot tell when whales are entangled, if they're being entangled in United States traps or if they're from Canada. And so there's some argument about that too. But this is an interesting juxtaposition of, he is correct that it's not completely peer reviewed, and that's usually something you've got to watch out for. Sometimes when things are in flux, you end up having to use your best available scientific data. And that's the way to phrase this, as opposed to something like climate change we studied for 60, 65 years. And the other thing to look at is this is where the tool comes from. And so there's lots of different branches and interests coming together with this data, including the United States Navy. So that's a good sign. There's going to be no bias in this data, but there could be more of it. Interesting question as to, do you proceed based on what you know? It's been a tough year for lobstermen, so do you put more regulations in? I don't have an answer to that, but I thought it was interesting where this tool was at, what they can do to make it better. It's probably going to take 2 or 3 years, so they'll have to decide if they can wait that long.
Very interesting, Keith, and nicely timed. News
Yeah,
Center
just
Maine at
got
5:30 starts right now. Bye, guys.